Yeah, hi everyone! It's been quite a while since I've gotten to do an update video for Aura Kingdom, and part of that is because every time I thought I had a good list of all the changes, we found more things that either weren't reported or we got more changes. But it's about time to actually summarize it, because good heavens, there is a lot. So, what did we get in September and October so far? Honestly, there's just so much, I don't even know how to sort this all out, so I'm sorry if it's hard to follow. First up, changes to quest drops and requirements. Along with the release of the Stellar Saphir class, everything below 90 was adjusted, but then later in the month, 90 to 99 was also adjusted. I haven't personally hit this yet on my Fresh account, so I can't confirm the exact changes, but I suspect it to be adjusted kill counts and rewards. You can catch my live streams if you want to see what's going on with that Fresh account. I'll also add that a few special items have been added, for example, 15th level transfer scrolls at Emerald Marsh and Sun Hunter's Vale. These allow you to forward up lower level weapons, then transfer them to higher level ones, so you won't need to feel bad about forwarding something to 15 earlier in the game. They are the kind that do not drop any fortification level as well, but if you plan to use the Advanced Gaia or Harvey weapon, remember you will lose it after transferring the fortifications. There was also a 100 times class buff item pack added to the main quest in Rain Mist Reach, but though it was working during my Stellar Sphere stream, it's broken now. Make sure to keep it around in your inventory because once that's fixed, that's about 100 gold worth of buffs right there. Another thing that was changed was the quest order. Previously, you were able to do the 45, 55, and 65 maps in any order of your choice, but they're now locked to a specific order. Specifically, it now goes Triacio, Candio, Ventos, Blittis, Starstand, Rain Mist, and then Emerald Marsh. Beyond that, they were already restricted in order, so it's now consistent through all main quest progression in the entire game. Another adjustment is that the 55 dungeons now drop gold quality field mob drops, items you often need for Eidolon wishes. There used to be a significant time sink trying to farm, so this is a great change. I'd love to see this also for Demerec, Triacio, and Candio dungeons in the future, so here's hoping. And keeping on the topic of dungeon drops, all main dungeons from 55 to 95 now drop advanced weapon and armor fortification scrolls. This excludes otherworld dungeons, but includes solo modes, so you will be able to comfortably farm them in Tree Cave if you're pushing towards Awakening and need a bit more fortification on your armor, or weapons. Again, I love this change. The old system was too hard to farm for fortifications. While we're on the topic of dungeons, we have the S20 main quest dungeons Party in Hell mode now added, and they appear to have been adjusted since first release, as originally, I struggled a lot with the Secrets of Qinyan due to getting silenced every 5 attacks on the last boss, but that has been adjusted to a stat debuff instead. The Hell modes for these dungeons have blood armor up to 700, meaning you will need armor pierce. You can get S25 gold weapons from these new dungeons, and possible Eidolon spawns are Michaela and Venus. Also added was the Nightmare Realm Evil Awakening. This is the other kind of nightmare where you can get Holy Spirit shuffles and upgrade items. I actually haven't run this dungeon, as I was able to nab me an upgrade formula off a friend, but I hear best recommendation for Holy Spirit is the S15 Dark Netherworld Jade, which increases crit damage and crit damage cap. Another new dungeon added is the Hurricane Abyss featuring Yarnaros. This is in Hidden Valley at the same entrance as Obscure Temple. It's a level S1 dungeon, so if you're at a higher level, you will need to scroll down past Bloodlord's Demonium and Otherworld Obscure Temple to find it. You'll get Yarnaros here, but more importantly, you can get a new set of weapons, the Yarnaros series. These are all S level 1 and locked to Storm Element, but they have 15% pen, making them a pretty good choice if you're playing Storm Element guns, Bard, or Whip. Ravager, Shuriken, or Tachi too if you're playing them as a Storm Element. They're expensive, but cheaper than trying to craft an orange S level 1 weapon, making them a viable option if you're lacking on pen and really need to use an S1 enchant card. And the final new dungeon added is the S25 Demon King instance, Ancient War God's Brutality. This is the 4-boss Demon King dungeon series, which has new accessories and advanced tier S10 enchantments. I don't think any of the new accessories are as good as Agni yet though, so the big draw is definitely the advanced S10 cards, which were previously limited to Sky Tower. Eidolon spawns here are Muse and Zashi, and you know what that means. Next Demon King dungeon should have Tyr as a spawn. Excellent. Technically, that was the last new dungeon, but it wasn't the last changed dungeons. We've got 3 new floors for Vault of Eternity. I'd love to make some kind of comment on it, but the truth is I have personally not had time to run it. I hear it's very hard and everyone needs to do some stuff on later floors, but I've been slacking on that because I've been focusing on getting midday to S30. And I don't think it counts as an instance, but Dimension Hall 15 is out. and with it is the Dimension Hall optimizations for lower levels. You can now run any Dimension Hall 65 and below by opening all the stones yourself, and the experience value is optimized so that 20 to 55 all have the same experience value based on your current level. 65 also scales a bit and it goes higher. They all cap out once you get high enough level. Also, you can now only run Dimension Hall once per day even if you unlock the next level. Previously, doing the Dimension Hall introduction quest would unlock that Dimension Hall to be done even if you had already run one the same day. But now you can definitely only do one per day, so make sure you're doing the best one for your level. Side note, Dimension Halls 95 and under rewards have also had their contents revised. You can now get login patches, dragon coins, or 100 LP vouchers in them. They also contain a guaranteed Dimension Crystal, which can be exchanged with the Dimension Hall NPCs for titles that include permanent stats. Each title has 50 points for all stats. It's unclear whether these are permanent or an event, so if you have a bunch of alts, you can run as many as you like daily. With 10 alts, it only takes 3 days to get your first title, so that's 30 to exchange for the first title. I speak from experience, it's not bad since you can just do Dimension Hall 20 with one person, and while you're there, you can run the Halloween event for a chance at some cute costumes or housing items. Alrighty, what else do we have? We have good and bad news for Eidolons. The good news is that they now have linking limited to 100 times per day. If you're linking 4 at once all day, that's still over 4 hours of linking, so I suspect this isn't going to be an issue for most players. The count fully resets every day, not slowly over time. But on the good side, the feeding system has been optimized, so when you're feeding Eidolons, you don't need to stand still and feed crests one by one. They all feed in one chunk. They've also added Eidolon wish coins to the Navea store for 50 Eidolon tokens each. These are the tokens you get by selling unneeded key fragments to the NPC. It's pretty expensive, as you need more coins for later wishes, so I wouldn't recommend using them unless the items that it requires are really, really bad grinds. For example, 1,000 leeches for Endora. They also added the combo skills upgrade, which require Eidolon fragments and soul recharge stones that are sold in the same shop as the Eidolon coins, but given the limitations of combo skills and their lack of use, I'm not sold on this mechanic. Battles don't take long enough to use 5 seconds on a combo skill for 10 to 15 second buff. Depending on the class, you may lose stacks on yourself or the boss in order to use those skills. I do applaud the attempt to make them useful again because I love the animations, but unless you've got nothing better to spend your Eidolon tokens on, I don't really think it's worth it. Finally, on the system changes side, we have the Guardian Knight system adjustment. First up, chibi and boy-type characters can now have GKs, but they cannot Guardian Knight with older female and male-type characters. No inappropriate comments, please. Beyond that, the stat bonuses for the GK system have also been overhauled. Each level 6 Guardian Knight will grant you a 2.5% bonus to all stats for a maximum of 10% to all stats if you have 4, and on top of that, once married, you can get 5% move speed for level 7, crit damage and crit damage cap plus 5 for level 8, 10 armor piercing for level 9, and 5 pen for level 10. Note, you can still only marry one character. Next up, we have the class adjustments. I don't really want to get into the nitty-gritty of the changes. Lind in the Discord put out summaries of all the adjustments I'm going to be referencing, so you can search for text files that they shared and personally say thank you if you need the exact details. I'm just going to touch really lightly on each of the classes. Ravager's adjustment includes buffs to the class mechanic Tyrant's Fury, which adds more Rav skill damage with each level, various increases to skill damage, and a 10% move speed to the 30-minute class buff if you're a Ravager main. Reaper's changes are hard to summarize succinctly and express properly, but basically all of the devil summons have had skill effect adjustments, and 4 have had their buff effects for main Reaper adjusted. Various skills have had damage increases or cooldown decreases, and both mastery paths have had overhaul level revisions, not to mention the Envoy class style adjustments. Seriously, read the whole document from Lind if you're considering being a Reaper. It's a huge buff. Oh, and they also got damage speed and move speed added to the 30-minute class buff. Ronin's changes include stronger buffs from activating Soulblade, various skill power buffs and cooldown reductions, more crit damage in their base Envoy, and adjustments to how many souls everything charges for Soulblade. Oh, and they also got move speed in their class buff. Move speed for everyone! Actually, I lied. Gunslinger does not get move speed added to their class buff. They got more speed and 20% crit damage added to their 30-minute class buff. But they also do have some huge changes. The enchanted ammo have all been adjusted, whether just buffed or adding new effects entirely. the big damage shot, Sonic Bomb, is both stronger and adds a storm skill damage buff, plus buffs to it on the weapon mastery path as well. You also have buffs on the trap thrower path, but I don't know, I don't really think anyone uses that. And again, basically all skills have had damage or cooldown adjustments. Duelist. Butterfly stacks can now go up to 6 instead of 5. These are the stacks needed to unleash the Ultra Nuke skill, as well as they have some new effects on other skills now. Deadly Wink is now a teleport to backstrike, Somersault's Envoy Tile attack increase is now 5 seconds, and while Snowflower no longer increases crit damage by 75%, it includes new debuffs, and Purple Lightning gains 50% crit damage increase. If you play Duelist, seriously make sure to read the full mechanics adjustments. It changes rotations. Oh, and they also get move speed on the class buff, and basically all skills adjusted at least a little bit. And finally, Wizard. The Wizard class had the edge system overhauled. It no longer has a random chance which edge you generate, it's guaranteed depending on the skill, and just holding unactivated etches gives your attacks elemental damage debuffs. The activated etches are also buffed. Looks a lot like Flame Wiz has been buffed more here, but Ice was buffed along with every other skill. Also, the Storm skill gains a move speed buff, and the 30-minute class buff gains crit rate and crit cap buff. Plus, the Lightning Gap Closer can now be used while jumping. Again, thank you so much to the Discord user Lind, you do so much for the community. If anyone is looking for the full documentation of the changes, like I said, just search for stuff from Lind with files in the English channel of the Discord. And, again, make sure to say thank you. Anyway, on to the Encyclopedia front, we have some changes there too. Weapons! You can now buy S15 gold weapons in the Encyclopedia for 45,000 gold dragon points. Masteries! You can now buy gold tier attack, tactical, and class masteries. They need 20k TP and 100 book pages from Solo Vault of Eternity. Costumes! Profession costumes are now available for 100,000 regular DP in the shop. These costumes can be purchased even if you haven't leveled the professions, and can be sold for tokens back to the profession stores, making it possible to convert your dragon points into profession tokens for fishing, gathering, archaeology, cooking, or duel cards. Just remember that the amount you can sell it for is 10% of the token purchase cost, so you can get 19.8 thousand archaeology tokens for an archaeology costume, but only 9,500 for a card dueling costume. And since you're there getting costumes, don't forget that the costume archive cap level has also increased to 1,130 items. This includes all costumes, pets, furniture, mounts, anything you can put into your archive. And one other small change is the boost button added to the item mall. It's used to claim the tiered charge up presents, but they seem to usually add a little something for free, whether it's a nice little EXP crystal or a nice little charm. It's not much, but it is free, and if you are buying XP, definitely make sure to claim your extras. And with that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. There's been so many small adjustments that I don't even know if I have them all. I had already written this full script when I realized I had missed the GK changes. But honestly, at some point I just have to release the video. Make sure to drop in the comments if I've missed any changes that you're excited about. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck with all the new content.